Welcome to Debutante Renegade and happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you're doing something fun or something that feels good, whether you're going for a romantic date with your significant other or you're relaxing at home and having a nice dinner for yourself and watching a show or a movie. I hope that you have a really amazing and beautiful day. And because it's Valentine's Day, and I love romance and love and sex and all things relationship-y, I'm doing a special episode on my relationship and how it began, a little bit about it, how it's going. Let me just say something really quick too. I know that I'm supposed to be doing my part 3 of my trauma series, but I've actually decided not to do it. 1, I wanted to do this episode, and 2, I was going to talk about my divorce custody stuff, and I can't do it. Not because of the trauma, but because I have a good thing going with my ex-husband in terms of our communication, our relationship, our co-parenting style, which I can do. I'll do probably a show on all of that. I don't want to talk about our divorce and custody battle because I feel it wouldn't be ultimately respectful to him. He's somewhat of a public person, and I want to be very respectful of what we have going. So enough on that. Let's get started with today's topic, which is my relationship. And I'm just going to say that after my separation with my ex-husband, I did take a year of celibacy, and then I dated for 2 years. I was on dating apps. I dated for 2 years until I met my boyfriend. And next episode, I'm going to talk about that, the 2 years of dating in LA as a single mom with curves and how truly excruciating that experience was. But it's very entertaining. So I'll have plenty of good, juicy stories for you. As for my boyfriend, my partner right now, our love story began on a dating app. It was Bumble, actually, which I'm super grateful that I met my partner on it. I also really hated the 2 years of using it and dating. But I matched with my partner, and we immediately started writing each other back and forth. I liked his profile. He seemed interesting, cool. He was cute, smart, funny, looked like he checked the appropriate boxes, and I think he felt the same way about me. And the week that we were writing each other, my son was with his dad in New York, so I had a full week to myself. So once we were writing each other, I think I suggested that we meet up pretty soon, right away, the next day, and he was game. So we met at a bar down the street from me for a drink, and when I first saw him, so I'm going to be totally honest, all the good and the bad things. When I first saw him, he was cute. He was tall. I'm tall. I'm 5'8". So I like somebody, I know, God, I feel bad for guys. I feel like they get such a rap for, not being tall. I've dated guys who are not tall before. I've dated guys who are short, and they were amazing, and I love them. But I do love having a tall guy because I'm tall and I like wearing heels. And I do like if my partner's taller than me. It's not necessary. I would totally be with somebody shorter than me. Again, I've dated shorter guys who are just amazing. But it's just I think it's the same for dudes. If like, I feel like tall for women is like having an amazing body, you know, if you're a girl for a guy. Like, guys love if a girl has an amazing body. Granted, you know, I think there are many variations. To some guys, you need to be a stick figure supermodel. Other guys, like a girl's a little more curvy or who's got, you know, big boobs, a big butt, whatever. But I think that, you know, if a girl has a really nice body, it's exciting. It's a bonus. Like, she doesn't have to have a perfect body, but I think that's an exciting bonus for a guy. Like, I feel like that's the thing that guys care about physically the most. And I could be wrong, but that's just kind of what I notice. I feel like guys care about bodies. And I think girls physically care about height. So I'm totally generalizing here. There's always exceptions, but that in general, I found that to be true. Anyway, he was tall, which was nice, but he was dressed kind of, I don't know, not super cool. Like, his jeans were a little, like, kind of dated. And of course, I found out after the fact that he buys all his clothes at a thrift store, pretty much. I mean, since we've been together, like, I've gotten him some other stuff, and he's got himself some other things. But I mean, I can appreciate how not superficial he is. I like that. Especially because I myself am a little more guilty for being kind of a fashion whore. I love fashion and clothes, and I even worked in fashion for a spell. But I like how non-materialistic he is. Like, spiritually, that's what resonates with me. And like, ultimately, you know, when you think about the ultimate person you want to be, the ultimate being that I want to be is not shallow. So I like how non-superficial he is. Anyway, he wasn't dressed great. He was just like fine. I think he was wearing like a short sleeve button down that was open over a t-shirt and like kind of dated jeans. But he was cute. I liked his hair, and he kind of had like scruffy, like a little bit of a beard, but not like a complete beard, like, you know, kind of like scruffy. I like that. And he had pretty eyes. And it felt really easy for a first date. The conversation flowed, and it didn't feel like either one of us dominated. It was very even in its back and forth. It wasn't like he was just sitting there asking me questions and I was doing all the talking and sharing, or vice versa. It was very balanced, and we had a good, healthy back and forth. And we had, right off the bat, I would say we had a lot of things in common. You know, we both have some real estate backgrounds and film industry backgrounds. So we shared that, which is really interesting. Like, he comes from a real estate family. And I've been in real estate for some years now, and he's a filmmaker and I'm a filmmaker. And so kind of having like these two major things cross over was pretty cool, pretty rare, pretty special. It was a nice thing. And I found him easy to talk to, easy on the eyes. We both liked whiskey. We were both drinking the same drink. We were having Jameson. And it flowed. It was a very pleasant, enjoyable time. It felt very natural and about as relaxed, I think, as you can feel on a first date. And at the end of the date, he drove me home. It wasn't far. And we said goodnight. But we had like a hug, like maybe a slightly awkward hug, like little, just a little bit. He didn't try to kiss me. And that kind of, I think I assumed because he didn't kiss me that he might not be into me. Because I feel like usually guys try, but he didn't kiss me. He also just felt kind of awkward. I thought he might be maybe a little awkward. Anyway, I had learned from my dating experience not to have high expectations, and that even if you had a great first date, you might not ever hear from the person again. So I sort of, expectations lead to disappointments. So I learned not to have big expectations or any expectations after a first date. So I didn't, I was in my my balanced world of neutrality. And the next day he texted me and he wanted to go out again on the weekend. So I was hiking and I told him I would check my schedule and get back to him when I got home. In truth, I'll tell you this, I'll be honest. Because remember, my son was out of town, so I had this week to myself. And I had a couple other dates on the book with a couple of other guys who I felt pretty excited by, like more excited by than I did my boyfriend, than I did D. We'll call him D. I won't share his identity just yet. But yeah, I felt more excited by them. I don't know if they were like more narcissistic or what. I have, as you know, talking about attachment theory as an anxious person, and having a paternal figure with narcissistic qualities, I do often find myself attracted to narcissistic types, not all the time. And I've dated plenty of people who aren't, but I have dated many narcissists. For whatever reason, I was a little bit more excited about these other 2 dates I had lined up than I was about seeing D again. Even though I had a really nice date with D, something about him, I didn't feel super intrigued by him or pulled by him. Oftentimes dating, there's certain people I would go out with and I felt immediately pulled into them. Like there was just this really intense connection immediately. And I didn't feel that with D. Okay. So what I was going to do is I was going to go out with these 2 other guys. And if either one of those dates went really well, then I was going to cancel on D. I was going to make a plan with him and then cancel. Now, I know this sounds kind of messed up, but when I do my show on dating in LA, you'll understand why I got to a point where I was having to do this, because I learned that people, I couldn't trust anybody. People would fuck me over left and right. So I kind of had to, it's kind of every person for themselves on these dating apps, and you sort of have to do what works for you. And so I also found it's good to kind of, at least for me, because I'm old fashioned and I'm monogamous, and I get attached to one person fairly quickly. I get to a place where I want to just be with that person. So I wanted to be cautious. I had a couple of dates scheduled. I wanted to keep those dates. I was a little bit more interested in those guys, whether for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. It was what it was. I wasn't super feeling D. I was a little unsure, but I did think that I liked how he was being with me. He was responsive. He wasn't playing games. He was showing interest, and then he wanted to see me. I could tell he was interested. And I have had a really bad history of sort of chasing after men who are not interested in me, barking up the wrong tree, so to speak. And that's something that I've needed to heal and fix within myself, is not going for people that are emotionally unavailable to me, because that's a sort of an unhealthy pattern that I can fall into quite easily. And with D, I could tell that he was interested. He was showing those signs. He was acting healthy. in this way, like possibly secure. And I also wasn't like pulled to him. So I was like, you know what, like give it a chance, you know? And if one of these other dates goes really amazingly well and you feel like, you know, that's what you need to pursue, then you can always cancel. So that's what I did. I decided to make a second date plan with D and keep my other 2 dates. Oddly enough, and this was very rare during my dating quest time, both, not one, both of those 2 other dates canceled. And that didn't usually, I gotta be honest, that didn't usually happen with me, that they would cancel, but both of them canceled. And I kind of feel like this is where I feel like the universe, God, karma, whatever a person believes in, had my back. Like for once was like, girl, you've been going through it for a couple years. Like we're going to cut you a break. Like don't hang out with either one of these asshole clowns. Like they're douchebags. They're not good for you. Go on a second date with this guy. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. And like universe, God, karma, whatever, destiny was right. He was. And so my other 2 dates fell through. I went, it was a Saturday night. I went on my second date with D. He took me to play mini golf. And we went to Sky Bar after. And it was really nice. We talked and I was a little bit, you know, I flirted with him a little bit because I'm a flirt. And it was actually, it was nice. It was a good date. And he was actually dressed a bit cooler on this second date. Like he was wearing these kind of cool, like gray moto jeans. And he was wearing these boots, like these leather boots. He was wearing these leather boots and I liked, he looked a little sexier to me. So we're on a second date. We're talking. We're having a good time. He's not really touchy-feely at all. He's like not trying to make a move at all. But at one point he like touched my leg for a minute and I liked it. Like I actually, at that point, I felt attracted to him. Like the attraction was, you know, was there. It was palpable. The first date, I didn't really feel attracted to him. Like I thought he was cute. And I also realized too that because he was like interested in me and reaching out to me, that might have been why I wasn't attracted to him. Because if he like blew me off and ignored me and ghosted me, I'd probably been like, oh my God, I really liked him. Because, you know, like my poor, like stupid brain is like that. I know I'm not alone. I know there's more of you out there, but you know what? I learned how to be smart. You can too. There's hope for us all. I'm really glad that I kind of, before our second date, I opened myself up to, you know, I was like, this person is treating me the way that I like, the way that I've been wanting to be treated. So give him a chance. You know, there's all these guys that seem so interesting to me, but they don't treat me the way I want to be treated. And here's this guy who's treating me well, you know, he's being a decent human, which a lot of people on the dating apps don't seem capable of. He's being a decent human. So I'm like, I gotta give this guy a chance. I gotta give him a shot. He's being a decent human. I keep saying I want that. It's here in front of me. I gotta try. I have to at least open myself up to the possibility that this person could be a better choice for me, even if I'm not initially attracted to him. And that turned out to be totally right. So again, on the second date, I opened myself up to what could be and told myself, just allow yourself, you know, to be in the moment with this person and to be open to an attraction. And I was attracted to him. When he put his hand on my leg, I liked it. And yeah, we had a really good date. I'll share. You guys want the juicy bits? I'll give you the juicy bits. When it was time to go home, we took a lift, and he was going to my house first. Like, he mapped the lift out to go to my house and then to go to his house to drop me off first. Because he's a gentleman. He's like a good guy, like not a scumbag. And I noticed that, and I thought that was really cute, but I was like, doesn't he want to try to come home with me? Like, doesn't he, want to come home with me? But he was just going to drop me off, and the lift gets to my house, and he like didn't try to kiss me or anything. So I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, I don't know, is he going to be my new friend or what? I'm like, I'm going to just invite him in for a drink. So I invite him in for a drink, and I'm like, what, the lift's going to still charge you to go to your house. He's like, that's okay. So we go to my house, and we're having a drink, and still, like, nothing. Like, didn't try to kiss me. Like, he'd put his hand on my leg while we were at the bar, and he'd like put his like arm around my waist for like a minute. So I was like, okay, I think he's into me. Like, I think he's attracted to me, but I'm not totally sure. Like, he's not like making any really obvious moves. So I'm like, I want to like make out with him, But obviously I'm like, I feel pretty safe. Like, I don't think this guy's gonna like try to take advantage of me at all, because like he would have played things really differently. So he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go lie down. I'm like, you're welcome. I'm really tired. I'm like, you're welcome to lie down with me. And he's like, okay. So I go get in my bed, and I strip down to my underwear, like my bra and underwear. I'm like, I'm just spell it out for this guy that like he can kiss me, like he can make out with me. So I get in my bra and underwear, and he comes to the bedroom and gets in bed with me, and then he kisses me, and then we finally kissed. And those are the details I'll give you for now. I'll just say, like, he's a gentleman and a good guy. And we spent the night together, and the next morning I made him breakfast, and I had a bunch of stuff I needed to go, and I needed to go pick up a friend from the airport. So I basically, normally, again, I would always overextend myself for guys. I'd be like, I'll take you home, like this and that, or I would have tried to keep hanging out maybe, but I was like, I needed to kind of cut it short. Like, I had stuff I needed to do, and I was like, hey, are you able to get a lift or whatever? And he's like, yeah, but I made some breakfast, I made some coffee, we had that, and I was like, well, it was fun, like, get the fuck out. No, I was nice to him. But so he left, and later that afternoon he texted me again, which was, again, like, you never know on these dating apps or when it comes to dating if you're gonna hear from the person again, even if you have a great date, even if you spend the night, like, make out, whatever, like, you just never know if you're gonna hear from them. So I got a text from him, and it just kind of kept going, and I feel like very shortly he wanted to make plans with me again. And every time we would hang out and go on a date, at the end of the date, he would want to make plans to see me the next time, which I really appreciated, because as a single mom, like, I'd always have to make sure that I could get someone to watch my son, and I'd have to just plan things, with like school drop-offs and work and all these other things. It was always, it just helped, like, the sooner I could make plans, the better. But I didn't even have to say this to him. Like, every single time we hung out, at the end of the date, he would make plans to see me again. Also, as an anxious, preoccupied attacher, this was such a blessing for me, because if we didn't have plans, then I would be anxious. Like, when am I going to see him again? When's he going to text me? Like, is he still interested? Did he see somebody else? Like, what's going on? Like, I would be like freaking out in that sort of anxious loop that, we as anxious people get in. But because we would have a plan, like every time I'd say goodbye to him, we already had our plan. I could just be relaxed and cool. This just allowed me to be cool. And by the way, I did play it cool with him in the beginning. Like I wasn't the one that instigated plans, and I wasn't the one that instigated texting or calling. I let him come to me, which, you know, all those books tell you to do that. And it's like these games almost. I wasn't playing a game. What I was doing for me as an anxious person, and as somebody who has consistently chased love and chased after men and tried to get them to love me, I was letting a man come to me and pursue me, because I figured the right type of man for me would be one that is interested in me. And he pursued me, and he was interested. He texted me, he called me, he made plans with me. And, you know, this went on for some time. And, you know, until we had a conversation that we were in a committed relationship. He also is rare and special. And like from the moment we went on our first date, he stopped talking to anyone else on the dating apps and put all his attention on me. From my experience of men dating in this day and age, that is not what most of them do. Most of them just keep seeing other people. This is more like, to me, what a woman would do. Not to gender things, but like, I'm just speaking an experience, and that's for me how I operate. So he and I were on the same page with that. Like, we're both just exploring each other, both interested in each other. I also feel really lucky that I found a guy who's kind of old-fashioned like that and has just a really good value system. I think that is rare, and I got really, really lucky in that way. Like, he's a real gentleman. And I could see all of that from the beginning. And so that's like how we met. That's the beginning of our love story. We had, you know, in the first 6 months of dating, we definitely had some like hiccups here and there. There was like a couple of incidents that I think there was a couple incidents that were tough, that were hard. He did something that really hurt my feelings. Like, he was producing this horror film that he co-wrote, and when they it was like the shooting schedule was rough on us in the beginning of our relationship. Like, you know, I didn't get to see him much, or we didn't get to talk much, and you know, it was tough, kind of triggering my anxiety a little bit. I made it through. And after he finished shooting, he had a wrap party with the cast and crew, and like a lot of their significant others came, and I saw that on social media, but he didn't invite me. Like, we had spent the night together the night before the wrap party, and we had plans like the day after the wrap party, and I didn't have my son the night of the wrap party, so I totally could have been there, but he didn't invite me. And that really hurt me. Like, I was almost ready to call it quits. I was like, you know, we had been dating for like 3 months at that point, exclusively. So that felt, you know, not like you keep work and relationships separate at that point. I guess, you know, we talked about it, and he had his reasons, and I think he felt like he made a mistake. You know, I don't think he realized how much it would hurt me. He also, as much of a gentleman and wonderful guy as he was, he didn't have much relationship experience. Like, he really only had a couple other girlfriends in his life, and none were that serious. Like, he never lived with anyone, never been married, like never had a really serious relationship. So I think there are a lot of things that happened at the beginning that were indicative of this and a byproduct of this. But he was also very open to learning, you know, how to be in a relationship. I think there were times where it was hard for him, but one thing that I think helped both of us, and one thing that gives us a good relationship for the most part is that he's really good at taking responsibility for his shit, for his end of things. He's very culpable. And I am too. I'm good at owning my stuff. I'm good at owning my dysfunction. I'm good at owning when I'm triggered. I'm good at owning when I'm unfair, or, when I do something that I shouldn't. And he is too. We're both good at that, and we're both able to communicate and resolve conflict pretty well. And I think that that's what makes for a healthy relationship. And I do feel like we have a healthy relationship for the most part. It's been 2.5 years now. After 6 months of being together, he moved in. It was kind of fast, but there were a couple factors in play. Like, his roommate was moving out. He was going to have to move anyway. And then the pandemic happened. So it ended up just being perfect for him to just move in. Like, we figured we weren't really supposed to go anywhere or see anyone, so might as well be together. And mind you, at this time I had, a single mom of a 5-year-old, and he moved in during the pandemic when schools were shut down, when offices were shut down. He was having to work from home, and it was a big change for him. It was a big transition. I know it was really hard for him. And I think that I couldn't quite appreciate how hard that was for him initially, but I've since come to appreciate it and really have a lot of compassion for him, and what he had to endure and what he still has to endure a lot of the time. But I think that I try to help out more to make it easier for him. But yeah, I feel really, for the most part, I feel very lucky for the relationship that I have and for the love that I have. There's a lot of love between my boyfriend and I. Every morning we start off with an embrace, a hug, like a nice long hug, maybe kiss, and we ask each other how we slept. We talk about any dreams that we had. One of us will usually try to make sure the others had some coffee or has some coffee. But yeah, and we check on each other throughout the day. I do, he is dismissive and I am anxious, and that can be challenging for both of us. He really needs a lot of space, and I really need a lot of attention, and I think he doesn't always feel like he's gotten the space that he needs, and I don't always feel like I've gotten the attention that I need. But I think we're both learning to accommodate the other, and we're both willing to compromise. I'm doing my best to get better at not needing so much attention, but figuring out what a healthy balance is, like what's a normal amount, not an excessive amount. And, I'm doing my best to give him space too, the space that he needs, and respect his other friendships and relationships and things that he likes to do outside of us, which, as an anxious, those things are hard. But I think if you want to have a healthy relationship, you really have to figure out who your partner is and what they need to thrive, and do your best to give that to them, as well as know yourself, know what you need to thrive, and ask for it, then know that you're not going to get every single thing that you want, but you should at least be getting most of what you want/need, and you should be giving your partner most of what they want/need. Nobody's perfect. There's always going to be conflicts, but you just have to, both people just have to do their best. And I think in any relationship you have tough spells and then you have good spells, and you want the good to outweigh the bad. One thing I forgot to mention, when I was dating and I was looking for a partner, it did have a list of 3 qualifications, 3 things that were necessary for my partner to have. And it's interesting because my boyfriend also I think he had 3 things as well. And we both had to satisfy that criteria for each other. I don't remember what his 3 were. I think it had something to do with, like attraction and humor. And I think there was one more. For me, my number one thing was kindness. I really wanted to be with somebody who was kind. And he is a truly kind person. And the second thing was having a powerful attraction, chemistry. And from the beginning, we definitely had that. Like, once I opened myself up to the attraction between us, I would say it's been the most powerful attraction, best sex I've had with any partner. We, especially the beginning, because right in the beginning of your relationship is always the sexiest time. We were crazy. We would have, sometimes before we would even go on our date, we would have these long sessions. I feel like we could have been in the sex Olympics or something. And been, medal winners. We were champions. And every now and again, we still are champions, but I would say that the attraction is still just as strong as it was in the beginning of our relationship. We're still super attracted to each other. It's a great connection in that way. I think that, when you live with somebody and you don't get time, and you work together in the same space, you don't get time to miss each other. You don't get the same longing. But if we don't see each other for a couple days, and then we see each other, that's the first thing we want to do. So it's the attraction still there. But that was my second thing. First thing was kindness. Second thing was attraction. We've got the attraction in spades. The third thing was feeling good about his contribution to the world. And this falls into kind of career category. But that said, I think it's possible that a person could have one career, but have a passion side project or hobby, whether, maybe they work as a banker, but their passion is photography and they do photography on the side and they love photography or whatever. And that satisfies them, or cycling or whatever it is, maybe you work in one thing, but you have another passion and you're fulfilled. You feel good about the money that you make, and then you feel good about, what you do, what you contribute to the world, your soul's fulfilled. Because I found that even if you have a guy who loves what he does, if he's struggling financially with it, he's going to be insecure. And if a guy is doing okay financially, but it feels empty about, what he makes, what he does, then he's going to have his own struggles. So my third thing was, feeling good about his contribution to the world. And at the time, D was, in pre-production for his first feature. So he was really excited about, this thing that he was contributing to the world, to the zeitgeist of humanity. And he was passionate and excited. And I will say that in our relationship, that is the one thing that's fluctuated a little bit. But again, in a relationship, you have ups and downs. And, if I'm going to be a good partner, then it's important for me to stand by and help if he's not feeling fulfilled in a certain area of his life. But I know I can't be the one to give that to him. He has to give that to himself. but I can hold his hand while he finds it. But yeah, he felt very good about his contribution when we met. I will say that one has dwindled a little bit for him, but that's a relationship, right? Ups and downs. And I hope that he gets that back, that he I hope that he finds something else that he feels as passionately about, or that he makes another project that ignites his passion, because that's important. And I know doing this for me is starting to make me feel that way again, but I wasn't feeling that way for a while. It's really tough when the pandemic happened and we all had to go in. So that's pretty much our love story. Again, I was not quite open to it in the beginning, but I opened myself up a little more, and that was choosing to open myself up was probably the best choice I ever made. So what I would say to anyone out there, if you don't have love, if you meet someone, even if maybe at first they don't seem like exactly what you're looking for, if they're treating you right, maybe give them a second chance and see if something doesn't bloom out of it. Because I think all of us are going to be happier with somebody who treats us right. And I think that's really important. And for the secure attaching people out there, you probably are pretty good at making sure somebody treats you right, and you are probably pretty good at treating your partners right too. So kudos to you. But for the rest of us, it can be challenging to allow, accept, and bring somebody in who treats us right. So that's my 2 cents on this Valentine's Day special episode. I say be open to who treats you right. Look for that. Look for signs of somebody who's interested in you and who treats you right. And I think that could lead possibly to a healthier, happier relationship. And while no relationship is perfect, and I certainly don't pretend to have a perfect relationship, my partner hates plenty of things about me, and I have plenty of issues with him from time to time. That to me, that's a relationship. It's real. People have flaws, but I think learning to accept your partner's flaws and embrace them regardless, and even playfully tease each other for your shortcomings, I think that's the best way to deal with it. And yeah, so that's my love story. We still have love. We're still together. And yeah, as far as the future, no one knows what the future holds. There are many things about my partner that I feel like, gosh, I can hear my stomach growling. I hope you can't hear it on the microphone. I started doing this fasting, and my stomach is being so loud and growly. Okay, so as for the future, there are things about my partner and I that I feel like I could spend the rest of my life with him. There are many wonderful things, and for me, this relationship has been the easiest, nicest relationship I've ever had. My other relationships were always a little more volatile and dramatic and dysfunctional, and from where I'm at in my own life, and then with my partner's inherent personality, the way we come together, this has been the best relationship the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. I think it helps to, I don't know what it is about my partner. I like him and I respect him, but he doesn't piss me off. Like, have you ever been with somebody where certain things that they do or the way they do things, it just annoys you? Like, it just gets on your nerves. You just find yourself irritated with that person. I don't think it means you don't love that person per se, but like, I've been with people before who they irritate me. They bug me for some reason. My boyfriend right now does not, I'm never bugged by him. He doesn't bother me. I don't feel annoyed by him. I really like him. I really respect him. Nothing that he does irritates me. I don't find myself irritated by him. So it's easy for me to share space with him, to be around him. And that makes it feel like, there's a potential very long-term, lifetime type connection. But who knows, I would like to get married again. I think I'm a marriage type person. I like that commitment. I like making it in front of one's friends and family and having this permanence to it. Also, as an anxious person and as someone who doesn't really have much family at all, I like the idea of having my own family, and it feels like if I'm married to somebody that's more solidified. But my partner doesn't really believe in marriage. It's not really his style. It's not really something he's ever really wanted. So, I don't know if that will strain us, if I can just go on inevitably not having that and be fine with it, or if at some point he'll come around and want that. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if at some point that would be a deal breaker for me, or if at some point that he would change his mind about it. So I don't know about the future, but I just know about the present. And at present, I feel pretty lucky. And I hope on this Valentine's Day, whether you're with someone or you're alone, or you're just starting to see someone, if you have butterflies, if you're excited, or if you're just staying in and watching Netflix, I hope that you're having a good day. And I hope hearing a little bit about my relationship, how we met, our journey together, I hope that's been helpful. How is your relationship, or what is the relationship that you want? Please feel free to put it in the comments. I'm curious to know, what are the things that you want out of a partner? What's your list? Is it 3 things? Is it longer? If you're in a relationship, how's it going? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it a mix of both? Where are you at? Where do you want it to go? Where does your partner want it to go? I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you got. You saw all my cards. They're all out on the table. You know all the dirty deets, all the juicy deets. Speaking of juicy, I hope you're having a juicy, fun, amazing, sexy Valentine's, whether it's with a partner or yourself. I hope you have such an amazing, happy Valentine's.